Hello, everyone. Susan Gerbeck from Psychics Explained. I'm still working my way through these videos. These are all readings that were done in the last week or so by Matt Fraser on one afternoon, well, one night, and they're all done in a series of 90 minutes. And I've broken them down to one reading at a time. There are a total of 11. So the one you're watching right now is number 6. I find it fascinating to watch these in order and to watch them within a whole day of, the whole time at once, instead of like picking and choosing my favorite videos. It is more time consuming. It is tedious, but I think that it is important that we all take a moment and look at these. And I'm not leaving anything out. So I'm not picking his worst blunders. If he's successful on something, well, I'm happy to mention that. But I hope you guys find these fascinating, and I'm so glad to see that you guys are watching these. Please leave me your comments. I thrive on looking and knowing that you guys are there and are seeing things that I'm missing. So I have this series of 11 I'm doing, and then I have another series of, I think, 9 videos that I got to get through these, and I want to get through these as fast as I can. So they're out there for you guys to look at. So as I said, this is video number 6. So we are going to be watching. This is a strange one. It takes a minute to figure out who these people are and how they're related to each other. And because I've blurred them out, it makes it more difficult for you guys. So I'm going to tell you right now, it is a fiance. She calls herself the fiance, and her future mother-in-law. Now her fiance has died. So it is, and it has to do with the military, and Matt is convinced that it is military, and that the reason for, I guess he figures out the guy unalived himself. That's a YouTube term because we can't use that other word. It's so silly having to play these games with YouTube. But anyway, that Matt figures out that he had unalived himself and that he was connected to the military. So Matt makes the observation, and he's sure of it, that the military was responsible for the reason why he did that. And the fiance and the mother of the man are kind of confused. At least that's what I remember when I watched this last week. So we're going to take a look at this again. It's a 10-minute video. I'm going to stop and go as we go. Everybody's blurred. There is something that happens on the screen that you may or may not notice kind of towards the end. When that happens, I'm going to stop, and I will definitely show you, but I will stop as we go. So let's dive right in and see what there is to see with Matt and I guess the fiance and the mother-in-law.
Allie, can we go over there? They're freaking out over there. I love people freak out. They're like, they don't think I can see the rest of them. Allie, where are you guys?
Louisiana.
Louisiana, I'm hearing the accent. I'm so happy that you're here.
We're happy to be here.
Well, first of all, who are you here with?
My fiance's mom.
Perfect. I'm so happy that you're here. Okay. So first of all, the moment I'm connecting, this is soul stepping forward to me that passed in tragedy here in this world. And right away, they keep talking about going unconscious and losing consciousness. And they're telling me my head. So first of all, who is that to you?
My son, her boyfriend.
Okay, that was your boyfriend that passed?
Mm-hmm.
And that was your son that passed? Please know that he's here. This is a very tough reading to do because the moment I'm connecting with him, he's bringing me back to his passing, and he's making me feel the pain that he went through emotionally. When I'm speaking to him, he keeps talking about having like anxiety before his passing. He keeps talking about having panic attacks, and he keeps talking about trying to get his emotions under control. Do you understand that?
Yes.
All right. Allie, is it okay to tell you everything?
Sure.
Okay. Please know that when I'm speaking to him, he says to me, you have to know how much I truly love you. You have to know how much I truly love you. And I want you to know that because he keeps talking about seeing a future with you and wanting to be with you. He said, even though my actions said otherwise. Because when I'm connecting with him, he's telling me that there's a lot of regrets that you have, because before he had died, he tells me that the two of you were butting heads here in this world. And he says, I want you to know that doesn't mean that I didn't love you. He says, I was afraid, I was scared, I was nervous. He goes, and I was nervous about what was going on in my own body. He's bringing this through. He's also telling me when I'm connecting with him this. This is what I don't understand. Did he at one point suffer from an issue with his head? Where
No.
either, are you sure he didn't have like seizures or things like that?
No.
He keeps bringing me up to a part of my brain when I'm connecting with him. And he said to me about like, he's bringing this on, he was telling me that here in this world, he didn't know where his anxiety was coming from, where some of his emotions were coming from, like why he was so anxious, right?
Yeah.
And souls will always tell me like what happened to them. Like, for example, sometimes there's souls that leave this world and they have, you know, deep depression. Sometimes it's bipolar. Sometimes it's all these things. But when I'm speaking to him, I felt like there was some head trauma from like years ago. Do you know if he was like in an accident or something that like, I know it's completely unrelated and it seems unrelated, but I need to connect the dots.
He was in the Marines and he had gotten hurt, but it wasn't anything major that we knew of. I didn't know if it was anything to the head. I know it was the whole body at one
When he
point.
went to the chiropractor, he had a neck injury, but not like head.
Yeah.
He had a neck injury. Was it from the Marines, you know?
No.
No,
Or was it was just, I was trying to figure
he
out.
doesn't know what it was from.
I feel like that's part of it, because when I'm connecting with him, he is telling me this. I know that when I'm connecting with his soul, he's saying to me, my head wasn't right afterwards. My thoughts were not my own. That's what he's telling me. So I need you to know that it's like there was two different sides of him.
Yeah.
And he shows me.
Could
there
you
was a side-
possibly be talking about schizophrenia?
It could be, but you know, what I need you to know is he's coming through to let you know in spirit he's in control of his thoughts now. And what's
Okay.
important to him and what he's trying to separate is that the person that you saw before he had died, right, that was not him. That's what he's telling me. Like, there's a part of him that keeps showing me, like, I would never do this, I would never end my life, I would never do this, I would never do that. Like, he's showing me, like, about being straight and narrow and being responsible and being all these things. And then I see this other side of him that doesn't even know who he is. And, like, it's like questioning everything. I don't want to get married, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that, I can't see a life, I can't see being a dad. Like, and it's like these two completely opposites. Like, it's almost like talking to two people, much like schizophrenia, right? But I also believe that he's directly connecting to that time being in the Marines. A lot of times I see this with PTSD and things like that.
Yeah,
you know, it affects a part of the brain, and that's what he's bringing me back through.
Okay.
Because he wants you both to know, because when souls get to the other side, they can look back on their life, and he just said to me, I didn't recognize who I was. I didn't recognize that I talked like that I said those things, because he wants to let you know. And the reason why he's stepping forward is to acknowledge to you that he wanted a future with you.
Well, that's going fast. So we're 5 minutes in of the 10-minute reading, and there's a lot going on here. So Matt had the only thing he said to them, and then the only thing he said was, this is somebody coming through that passed in tragedy. That's it. And the two women just automatically assumed it was her son and her fiance, you know, the guy. And it makes it a little confusing because we don't have a name. You know, Matt, can't you just say the guy's name? But no, he's not going to say the name, because Matt is not psychic and he does not know the guy's name. He's not hot reading. He is just cold reading these women. And so again, it's that motivated sitter effect where the person is there and they want the reading so badly that they're going to take whatever is given to them and turn it into what they need to hear. That, you know, whether they, like in the case we saw the earlier video with Cassie, where she badly wanted to hear from her mother and her sister-in-law showed up and she was really ticked off about that. It's might not always be the person you want to hear from, but it is somebody you assume you're going to hear from. And so in this case, they assume it's going to be their son. So somebody who passed in tragedy, why does it have to be this unnamed person, this unnamed man, when it could have been, any number of people that they might have known, or one of them had known, that passed in tragedy. Because remember, we've got a group of people, and when there's a group there, Matt has double the amount of people that he can get a hit on when he's cold reading. So it could have been just one of them that was it was appropriate to, and then the other one, whatever. So once you accept whatever the premise is, that the bait that Matt throws out there, then they end up giving them all the information. He says, who is this person next to you? I don't know why Matt doesn't know. If the person is already coming through to Matt, shouldn't they say, oh my gosh, that's my fiance, Elizabeth, and my mom, Brenda. And I was in the military. My name is Joseph. I mean, I don't get it. Well, I do get it, because Matt is not psychic. He's really not listening to anybody. There's no one connecting, nothing. That's not happening. This man is not doing that. He's just saying, who is it who wants to connect? There's somebody who wants to connect who passed in tragedy. And then once they've told him who this guy is, that he's the fiance of the alley person and the son of the mother-in-law. Well, she's not the mother-in-law. The son of the woman, the mother. They're not married, so that's her mother-in-law, future mother-in-law, which can't be her future mother-in-law because her son is dead. So it gets a little confusing. I wish they would just go ahead and name some names, and it would be very clear when they do that. Okay, so they can't make sense of this idea that there's something wrong with his head. They're trying really hard. Oh, he went to the chiropractor. There's something wrong with his neck. Oh no, there's nothing there, or nothing there. And then what Matt does is he turns it to something wrong with his head, like mental illness. So at first it starts out with like some kind of action to his head, something that actually physically happened, like a blow to the head, or an aneurysm, or a stroke, or something that happened to the head. But since they couldn't make sense of that, it turns into some sort of mental illness. And when he starts talking about that, and then they mentioned that he was in the military, he was in the Marines, and there was something that happened a long time ago, but it had nothing to do with his head. And the mother was kind of vague about it. She might not even know. So Matt just seizes on that and says, yes, that was what it was. So, I mean, I don't know if these women are supposed to take this information and go to the military and say, hey, we saw this psychic, Matt Fraser, and he told us that the reason my son, who's unnamed, unalived himself is because he had something like a PTSD or something like that from the Marines. So you guys are at fault for this. So you need to pay up. I can see that happening. That ain't likely to happen, right? So, he's asking him, he asked him if he had seizures, and they said no. He mentioned anxiety. I don't know if the two women specifically said he didn't have anxiety, but he does say that he wasn't the same person that they were used to. He had changed his personality. And the fiance, the woman who's here, Allie, she says, could it have been schizophrenia? And she says that as if she knows that that's what they suspected was going on, that he had schizophrenia. Could it have been schizophrenia? And then Matt starts talking about how symptoms that could look like schizophrenia, because that's the diagnosis that the fiance thinks is going on. Very sad. Okay, so and oh God, it's so painful. He wants you to know he's always loved you and he looked forward to having a life with you. But what was going on in his head wasn't conducive to being a father and to being a husband and to being all these things. So, again, there's no names. Very frustrating. Okay. I've got some notes here, but I wrote them so fast that it's really hard to see. Let's go back.
And I need you to know that, because there's still a part of your heart that is questioning, like, did he really want this? Was it just me thinking this, or what it was? And he's saying to me, I want you to know that beyond a doubt, I did. He also wants to thank the two of you for being his best support system. He wants to thank the two of you for trying to help him and for trying to get him to the right people. He keeps telling me before he died that you were trying to get him to certain doctors or certain people for help. Is that true?
Yeah, yes.
And he keeps telling me in my ear, I keep hearing him saying, like, we were too late, we were too late. So I want you to know that, because he's also telling me this, I also keep seeing medications being prescribed to him.
Mm-hmm.
But he keeps saying to me that what was crazy is that at the time this had all happened, because he shows me this all happened very quickly, he keeps saying to me that it wasn't the right fit. Like, I feel like the medications weren't the right fit for him at that exact moment. That he was still trying to find
Yeah.
the right dosage,
Yes.
the right treatment, the right plan. He just said to me, I wish that I would have hung on longer.
I believe that.
He used to get into these episodes where he would spiral and like the world felt unsafe. That's what he's showing.
Okay, so this man is on medication. First, he says you were trying to get him to the right doctors and trying to get him help. And then they nod in agreement. And then he starts talking about the medications. And then he says, and I want to hear this again before I say it. Let me just backtrack. Did you hear this? If it's what I think I heard.
I believe that.
He used to get into these episodes where he would spiral and like the world felt unsafe. That's what he's showing.
Now I got to go back a little further.
And he's saying to me, I want you to know that beyond a doubt, I did. He also wants to thank the two of you for being his best support system. He wants to thank the two of you for trying to help him and for trying to get him to the right people. He keeps telling me before he died that you were trying to get him to certain doctors or certain people for help. Is that true?
Yeah, yes.
And he keeps telling me in my ear, I keep hearing him saying, like, we were too late, we were too late. So I want you to know that, because he's also telling me this, I also keep seeing medications being prescribed to him.
Mm-hmm.
But he keeps saying to me that what was crazy is that at the time this had all happened, because he shows me this all happened very quickly, he keeps saying to me that it wasn't the right fit. Like, I feel like the medications weren't the right fit for him at that exact moment. That he was still trying to find
Yeah.
the right dosage,
Yes.
the right treatment, the right plan. He just said to me, I wish that I would have hung on longer.
I believe.
That's what I thought. Did you hear that? He told me in my ear right now that I wish they had held on longer. The two women in his life here. So they're to blame. I wish they had hung on longer. That's what it sounds like he said to Matt right now. And of course, Matt only gets these little snippets all the time until he gets to be to a point where he gets really specific. So, I mean, Matt can't make up his mind does he just get little tiny things here and there? Or does he get like more? Because it's both. He says he can't get, anyway, you know what I mean? So he wishes they had held on longer. So they were trying to get him to the right doctor and to the right medications, but he's also on medications and it wasn't a good fit. So which one is it? I guess maybe they didn't like the doctors that he was going to, and they were trying to get him to new doctors, and the medications weren't a good fit. And so the guy takes his own, unaliving his own life. All right, let's see. It hasn't got to that point where I told you to really look. Hold on yet.
He used to get into these episodes where he would spiral and like the world felt unsafe. That's what he's showing. So I have to tell you that what's crazy is that he wants you both to know that his safe place was with the two of you. And I need you to know that everything that he experienced here in this world, I believe, was trauma from when he was in the military. Because I said to him, show me what your life was before, show me when everything had changed, and he keeps showing me the military coming up. And you know what's funny is I'm asking him to show me some of the visions, some of the things, and he won't do it. He doesn't want to revisit those times. So he doesn't want to revisit the things that he saw, the scenes that played out. And I feel as though he's also showing me this because I feel like he didn't talk about it with you. Like he would not talk to you about the things that had happened, the things that he had. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I do.
So I have to tell you this. When I'm connecting with him, he just said to me, Matt, he says, this was his dream. His dream was to be in the military. He shows me this. But I also see when I'm connecting with him, I didn't think that it was going to affect me this deeply. All I have to tell you is I have to honor what he's telling me, though. I also
Okay, I don't know if you heard that, but you saw the woman look off to the side like that. He says, my thoughts were not my own, and that being in the military was his dream. And a lot of men, a lot of people actually feel that way, and that's not a surprise at all. And what was it? Gosh, it's so hard. I'm telling you, I had to have to sit there and take a lot of notes. He says to her, here's what I want to point out is listen to Matt. He said to me in my ear, he's telling me right now, I told him. So Matt's like telling him stuff at the same time Matt is speaking, at the same time Matt is listening to the women, at the same time the guy is talking. I mean, it's like, what the heck? Is time just freeze for Matt and we can't tell it, we can't see it? This is all happening at once. This guy's got to be amazing. His brain has got to be, oh my gosh, they should check his executive function that he can hear and see. And it's incredible. But listen to how he says that. It's just so incredible. Okay. Now start paying a little more attention to what happens on the screen. Yeah, I know you can't really see because they're blurry, and for those of you who are just listening, I'll explain it in a couple minutes. Okay. But for the moment, watch, if you can watch what's going on.
I also feel like there was something physical that was also going on with him. Like I said, it could have been connected to that neck trauma or whatever it is, because I also feel like there was something, it wasn't just emotional. I also feel like there was a physical thing that was going on with his head before he had died.
He was in a foxhole and they all landed on him and he was underneath buried for a while and they had to lift him up. He couldn't get up and he was out for a while. So they put him on a leave. He was injured, but I don't recall if it had anything to do with the head. It could have been.
You know, the hardest thing is, and I see this a lot as a medium, right? When these things happen, is that sometimes what happens is that it could even be something that happened like years ago, right? That he walked away from was completely fine, but yet there was something that was there that wasn't caught. And I see this because I don't feel like he was dealing with all emotions. I have to be completely honest. He keeps showing me that there was also a piece of his head that was affected. And I believe that, you know, usually when I see that, it's because there was some type of a trauma that had happened. But, go ahead.
Could it also be that he was on a ventilator and his brain collapsed?
Yes. Is that when he actually had passed?
Yeah.
That's how it ended up.
That's how it ended.
That's going to be what he's talking about. Because here's what I need you to know, is he's telling me about the way that he couldn't come back from this if he tried. And he kept telling my head. So when I see that, if he was on a ventilator, that's what happened. His brain had collapsed, and there was an issue with that, and that's what actually took his life and caused his passing at the end. That's going to be what he's talking about. Because I need you to know this one thing, is that even though this had happened with his brain at the end, it's his way of knowing that the two of you tried to keep him alive, and he wants to thank you for that. Because I see that you were either trying, and he keeps talking about like multiple doctors. So he tells me about either trying to get another doctor in or he was supposed to be seen by somebody else, he's telling me. So know that everything that you had done for him, he had seen. He wants to let you know that he is okay on the other side and that his soul is with you. He also just said to me in spirit that one of the things that he wants you to know, Al, is he keeps talking about trips being planned in his honor or in his memory. So are you going to places in memory of him, or do you plan trips in memory of him, like that you're going to places that he wanted to visit or connected to him?
We were supposed to go. His mom actually just went on a trip.
We had talked about all going
and we talked about all going together.
He wants you to be able to go.
Yeah.
He's just showing me a vision of a map in front of me and circling different places. So when I see that, that's his way of saying, like, you need to go. I want you to go to be a part of this. And he's bringing that through. Oh, and he also just whispered, oh, my clothes. He knows that you kept his clothes here in this world.
Okay, did you hear it again? So there is an infant that's off screen. Now they have a Mac computer. And the reason I know this is because whenever they move off screen, the function of this computer is it zeroes in on the person who's there. You'll see it kind of rotate and go to the person. And so when one person goes off screen, the computer will go to that one person. And then when the person comes back, then it'll expand to the two people again. It's a function that's on Mac computers right now. I mean, it might be on other computers too, but you can tell that at this time in 2025, this is a feature. And when she moves off camera, you really notice it. She's like this with her arm. And you can hear it crying. And so when she gets up to leave, then the camera goes, moves again. And you're going to see a whole bunch more of this. The thing he says about, was it right before the baby I wanted to point out was, vacation. So it was so generic. Is there a vacation you've got planned? Is there one you just went on, something that he was involved in or he wanted to go on, or something was planned, or something in his honor? I mean, how vague could that possibly be? I mean, I just came back from a vacation, not a vacation, but I just came back from a trip. And one of the things I said to myself multiple times when I see something I enjoyed or I liked, I'd see something, I say, oh, Mark would love this. Or my parents would have loved this. This would have been so great. So in my mind, if I'm trying to make it fit to whatever it is the medium's saying, then that could have been like, yeah, I was just in Vegas and, I know my mom and dad would have loved this. So kind of in a way, I'm honoring them. In a way, I'm kind of going there. Or it could be just they planned and talked about some vacations or things in the past. See, again, it was really vague, but these two sitters are going to make it fit. So now we're going to the clothing.
Because he's bringing up shirts that he's pulling up. And were you also making something out of his shirts?
He wants to.
Perfect.
Like
He said to me, you have my permission.
Yeah.
So no, it's his way of bringing that through and letting you know that he's sorry for the person that you saw before he had died. He says, but I need you to know that truly was not me, and that I am back to the way that you remember. And there's one thing, Allie, he's also telling me, is he keeps telling me in my ear, like I made a promise to her that I didn't get to keep. Like he promised you where you were going to get married. He promised you the future together. He promised you all of these things. And he says, he goes, I didn't make a promise that I didn't keep. He says, I was planning on doing all of that and more. So even though he was never able to, he wants you to know that in spirit, he will always see you as his wife on the other side. He says, thank you for staying close to my mom and our family. He says he wants to let you know that he is watching over the both of you and that he is safe in that peace.
Dang. Okay, so this is really, really getting into the harm. So he gave permission that she could make a blanket out of his shirts. Thank you. Thank you, unnamed person. He made a promise to you. He really intended to marry you. Sorry it didn't work out. That sucks. Okay. Still no mention of this infant in the room. Now, Matt, I don't know how he's missing this, but there is an infant right next to her in this room. And you're going to see her reach out with her hand and rock like the cradle. You're going to see her going like this with her hand. She's rocking the cradle to keep the baby quiet. At no time does Matt mention an infant. At no time. He just says, that about these two. He's watching over these two, the mom and the fiance. At no time does he mention he's watching over the baby. Not at all. Now, this death was recent. It had to be. Now, just listen to how it goes. And she is a relatively young woman. It has to be. And then he says, he's telling me that in his mind, you're his wife. Now, damn it. How hard is it going to be for this young woman? Now, she has a brand new baby. How difficult is it going to be for her to move on with her life, to have relationships with future men, to be able to have just a normal life with other people when she's got this hanging over her head that this guy's watching out after her all, he's watching her and he loves her and he considers her his wife. How difficult will that be for her to move on with her relationship? It's going to be really hard. And yeah, probably she should take a little time. But my goodness, that is just so selfish. And for Matt to say that, which might at the moment feel good to that fiance, to this woman who's now lost her partner and the father of her child, I'm sure it's the father of the child, but I don't know. It could be a new relationship she's had since. But, it takes 9 months to have a baby, and that baby's cry is about a 2-month-old baby. So that's a child, 9, 10, 11 within a year. So he hasn't been gone that long. Let's see if it comes around to that. We're almost done.
Thank you, Matt.
I am so happy that you were both here because I don't come to Louisiana, of all places.
I know. I wish you would.
Me too. But I'm so happy that you were here because the fact that your son came through and your fiance is his way of just acknowledging in spirit that he is completely at peace. He is fine. And he's thanking you for all the love that you've given to him.
Oh, I just got chills. That's perfect.
There's one other thing I gotta tell you before I let you go. Is I also don't understand why he was showing me sheet music. Was there special songs that you had played for him or certain songs that were sung for him after he had died?
No, he just recently died 3 months ago.
You're very lucky.
Bam. He just recently died 3 months ago. So if that baby is 2 months old-ish, and I know was in this business for 34 years. I know babies cry. And that baby is little. And so that means that he died right before the baby's born or a little bit before, somewhere around there. She says just recently died. So that baby in that room, unless she's babysitting somebody's kid, and which is why probably Matt is not saying anything because he's afraid to say something about the baby as his child, because it could be somebody they're babysitting or another grandchild. He could say, he could have said something about an infant and a baby and just did it kind of generically and then see if they mention the child. And that's the other thing. He can't say, is it a male or a female? Because again, it's going to give it all away. So I think that Matt's just trying to be extra careful and just move on with that. And he's not going to mention the child at all. And he keeps talking about those two women as being so important to him and everything. This sheet music, who uses sheet music anymore? And then he says, oh, well, some kind of music that you played for him right before he died or after his funeral or what? I mean, just really soon. And the mom's like, no, no. And it just happened recently. I think how heartbreaking that is. Let's finish this off.
True, but I know that the reason why is because of Halloween and being closer to the veil. It's easier to communicate with
That's
new
I was
souls.
worried he wouldn't come through. Yeah.
Well, listen, you're here for the right reason. It's the easiest time of the year. It makes it easy for people like me. But I also see when I'm connected, he's talking about like sheet music. So when I see that, I believe that had to be about either when he had first passed away or even now he's talking about being remembered with song.
Right. There's certain songs that remind me, of him.
No, I don't feel like that's what it is. He would have told me that. I feel like it's connected.
I don't know what else it could be.
I feel like somebody had, because he's also talking about somebody who was a musician. So I feel like somebody had sung a song for him or created a song for him and know that he knows about this in spirit. It may not have happened yet, right? It may not be that's foretelling something. But he's bringing this through to let you know I will always be remembered and thank you for the love and thank you for always thinking about me. He says, and I want you to know that I am safe at peace.
Thank you so much, Matt.
Oh, you're so welcome. I'm going to leave you with that.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. All right. At the same time.
So somebody has created a song for him, or since the mother is like, no, I don't know what you're talking about, it might still be coming up. Oh, okay. Yeah, well, all right. Might be coming up here sometime soon. Somebody's going to write a song for this guy. At no time does this dead father who's just died recently, who feels this immense guilt and sees this woman as his wife, and he's so thankful for the two people in his life, the two of them, not the three of them, the two of them that are right there. So lovely, just lovely. He never acknowledged his child. What's he to do? And this thing about Halloween, and it's closer to the veil. He's been going on about that this whole time, in the intro and the outro, and then in the next week he does the same thing in the intro and the outro, that it's close to the veil, so it's easier for people to come through because it's Halloween. Does that make any sense? Do you really think that ghosts and demons are really? I mean, come on. Today I'm recording this a Dia de los Muertos, but I don't think that we really believe that we're closer to the veil and like demons and ghosts and things are actually out there. I mean, really? Goodness gracious. Anyway, please leave your comments. I really appreciate it. This one just really bugs me a lot because how do you think it's going to feel when that child grows up and the parents are always talking about, well, the mother and the grandmother are always talking about how they had seen a psychic, and the psychic said, your dad is still around and he's following us and everything, but he didn't mention you. No, you're not mentioned at all. I guess because they don't have a copy of this reading, they're going to say, well, he did mention you. Oh, he said he loves you. Mm-mm. Well, we have this reading, and if they ever find it, well, I don't think it's going to happen. But the point is, that one just really sad. And I'm like, what the heck? There's a baby right there. Why isn't he talking about the baby? I mean, what's the deal? I would think that the guy would have been all over that child. He said he wanted to be a father, and now his brain is all healed. His head is all healed now. Anyway, really bugs me. Okay, so this is video number 6 of 11. So somehow I've got to get these next few done really quick so that you guys can watch them. And yes, you are starting to watch them, and I really appreciate it. Please leave me more comments. That means that you're seeing things that I'm not seeing, or maybe disagree with some of the things I say. That's fine. I'm not psychic. I just know that I've watched a lot of this stuff, and I've been following Matt for a very long time. I think I've got 20 something videos of his that I've done focused on Matt Fraser. That's crazy. And it's going to be like 35. By the time I'm done, we're going to be close to 50 videos on Matt Fraser. So I've been to his events, and I've written many articles, and I've had a conversation with him. And then of course, he's the same guy who was in the New York Times whenever we did that feature article in the magazine with him and Thomas John, and on and on and on and on. And he sends me emails all the time. So please leave me comments. I would really appreciate it. Thanks, everybody.